Okay, good morning. So it's been a few days from the last video. Just to reiterate here, this was dropped. It's a higher end gaming machine, about a $700 board. So I thought, if anything, it would be fun to try to clean it up and fix it. The crack is right here. You can kind of see where the board's bent. Maybe that. There you go. So the problem was getting power from the jack to the rest of the board. And so I took the jack out, cleaned the board up really nice, and I figured I'd get a new jack. You know, it's like $7, no big deal. But just to see if we could get power to the rest of the board. I don't believe this board is fixable, but it's a kind of a fun exercise just by principle on what we're doing here. So let me switch cameras to the microscope and we'll kind of go over a couple things just to start out. Okay, so right here is the actual crack in the board. Here is the back of the jack, right? So what I did find after the fact was, of course, it's all negative, but the three in the middle, this little pin here in the middle, and these two are positive. So therefore, the positive are these three, and these are all on the same pad. You see it ends here and it ends here, and there's a crack straight through. So theoretically, obviously we're not getting any power because the positive lead is not going past this. Now the ground is a different story because you've got ground everywhere. Ground up here. You got ground here and you got ground here. Now, you know, after really looking into this, I don't think this is repairable. This is also ground right here. So if you've got, solder here, it's gonna bridge this gap. But the positive you have to have, obviously, and it's just right here. So anyhow, so we're just gonna, like I say, I don't believe this is really repairable, but it's worth a shot, and $7, no big deal. So I got the new jack in the mail. We didn't really want to reuse it, use a used jack just for the sake of doing it. So there is the new jack. Put this in the trash. Anyway, the new jack is right here, all nice and new. And because we properly prepped this board, putting this jack back in will be no big deal whatsoever. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Again, it's difficult to see because this is focused so close, and with this particular microscope, that's about as good as it can get. You can't really back off too much on your on what you can see. The good news is I think Santa is bringing me a couple new toys regarding my little channel, and we'll be able to see things a little bit better. Okay, so let me get my, see if we can see this here. Try to zoom up a little bit. Now, here is the new jack. And because we took our time, like big time on this, everything should just snap right in place. And it pretty much does. It's probably, no, that's flush. That's good. Okay, so to hold it in place, I'm just going to set it on top of the old jack, just like that. And I'll refocus. All right, so we've got the positive leads all the side and support, the ground, ready to go. You don't really need flux with the with doing it this way. Flux is more, in my opinion, to remove solder, but that's okay. We're going to use it anyway, just so we make sure we get a nice, good connection. And all right, I've got my chisel tip on my soldering iron, which is okay. For this, I would probably be happier using just a like a pen tip, but that's all right. Anyway, so I'm gonna let my soldering iron heat up and be right back. Okay, back. I think my soldering iron is probably ready to go. By the way, my soldering iron is at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm sorry, excuse me, 400 degrees Celsius, which is nice and hot, and it heats up pretty quick when you set it that high. All right, so let's get some. I'm going to do the ground over here first. Get those done. Yeah, there we go. What we want to see is it incorporate into the through the hole, basically, as it were. And when it does that, that means there's a good indication that it's made a good connection completely through. All right, and you can put solder. Oops, you can put solder on your tip here, and just let it sit there, kind of pulled up on there, and then you can just hit your holes like that, and it will fill it up on its own. I mean, the flux is kind of beneficial in that case to help, I don't want to say suck the solder off of it, but it helps. It's like taking a napkin and sticking it in water. It kind of siphons it off of the tip of your iron. Looks nice. It'd be crazy if this actually worked. I'm going to clean my tip. Somebody in another video said I need to clean the tip of my soldering iron, so I've been kind of trying to keep a better eye on that. There we go, my friend. Clean. All right. But when you're dealing with solder and you're going to have kind of like slag and things like that, the impurities on the board, these are all going to show up in little bits of black carbon and burnt stuff. So check this out. So it looks like this edge of this hole, I guess you could call it. Let me kind of get a little bit of flux away to see it better. If you look, it looks like the hole where this is going through, part of it is on the side of the crack on this side. So what I'm going to try to do is add enough solder to hopefully bridge it to that front part there. There you go. I'll take it. Actually, see how it's kind of looks like it's on top of the other solder? I want to hold it so it can mix together. There we go. Nice. All right. There's that one. Probably have enough solder on my iron now. And then this one. See, there's a little hole there. Just do that. That's what I was talking about in a couple of videos, how this part and this part look different, and this part looks like it's sitting on top of this part. You want to make sure, watch what this does. You want to make sure that the whole thing is one shape, if you will. There you go, like that. All right, last one. All right, I'll take it. Okay, well, that's it. That's it. Looking at the other side, we didn't get a whole lot of solder completely through the board. And to be honest, I'm not terribly too worried about that. I mean, there's a little bit coming through. Ideally, you want it to actually show through completely. There's a little bit there, a little bit there. But, yeah. Something interesting on the top that I didn't notice before is this right here. So we've got the positive leads here, and this pad actually goes to here. So if, let me prop this up a little bit. So this might actually be a way, see if I can get this in focus. Okay, right. So this might actually be a way. So go into continuity mode. That's when these touch together. I didn't notice this before, and if we can take a lead from right here to right here, that would be nice. But first I'm going to see continuity, right? First I'm going to see if this reaches here, if it's already connected. It is. That's good news. That means that there's continuity between these pins that are positive to this right here, which I'm not 100% sure, but typically this would be a current sense resistor or a 0 ohm resistor, similar to a fuse. So I'm going to hit this, and that's probably a fuse because it's a dead short otherwise. So that's good. And then, of course, you always have your two MOSFETs. I don't really know how MOSFETs work, to be honest, but you always have, almost always have two right there. And then these are all connected here. And then these, I believe it's called the gate and the drain. These three are connected. That one's by itself, and these four are connected. But anyway, I mean, I'm still learning myself. So what I'm going to do is apply power to this board. And would that be awesome if we actually got power to the board? Because I'm nearly certain we had no power before, and that could have been because of this jack. So let me switch cameras and we'll see what we have. Okay, so now I've got the original power supply for this. It's 180 watt, I think, with my multimeter. And what we're going to do is plug it into the board here and see if we have power. That would be great. I mean, I didn't have a lot of, really a lot of hope for this, because it not only did it break the board, but there's other components that may be in trouble. All right, 20 volts, that's what we want. So what we're going to do is I'm going to plug it in here. This is the motherboard, of course. Plug it in, and then those pins that we were just talking about in the middle, those positive ones, and specifically that one hole where the middle pin went in, that part of the pin was on the other side of the crack. That may have saved us, because we got continuity to the other side of that crack by using that. And that was just one hole, but all three were on the same pad, just like all the grounds. We could eliminate one of those grounds and it won't cause any troubles. So we have power here. I'm gonna plug in now. Okay, no smoke, no fire, good. We're gonna put the ground right here. We can just use, like say, any one of these metal pieces, any one of these copper looking holes. There's all over the place. These are all ground. and we're going to hit these middle pins and see if we have power. So watch right here. 20 volts. Well, that's excellent. So now we actually have power going to the board. The question is whether or not this would turn on. But I mean, stranger things, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is unplug it here. I'm going to take the computer. Customer told me that originally this computer cost something like $2,000, and looking at the cost of the board, it doesn't surprise me if it was. Not sure how much it was exactly, but I know it's still pushing $1,000 on eBay. But this is it right here. So I'm going to put it all together. I don't really think that this is going to fit very well into the case as before. Over here, I think, back here, no, I'm sorry, right here, it didn't, wait a minute, how does it fit in there? Oh, probably like that. Okay. Anyway, where the plug-in was right here, it didn't fit flat. It wasn't flush. It was sticking down like this. So it was even hard to get that in there. But I'm going to use the screws I have, and something makes me want to actually heat the board up a little, but I think I'm going to leave it. And if it does work in the end, awesome. If I sell it, I'm going to be very transparent about the fact that repair work was done here. As long as it works, you know, get it out the door. Well, we'll see. I didn't have a lot of hope for this, but now it might be good to go. So at least I might get power, so that's a good thing. I'm going to put it back together. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have it together enough to test. I don't recommend running a computer without a heatsink on the board, but for the purposes of this is going to be just fine, as we're just kind of just testing it. So first thing we want to see when we plug it in, we want to see a battery charging light, because the battery is plugged up. But per the customer, once this happened, it still worked on battery, and once the battery died, that was that. So that kind of lends to a charging issue. Okay. One thing I am going to do is put a little bit of paper towel around the Wi-Fi antennas, because if they touch something here, they could short something out, and that would just kind of screw everything up in spite of it all. So I'm just going to tack it right under there. Okay, here we go. So this is the, see how bent that is? Once we screw it in, it's still going to be way off. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll just do the best we can to get it as close to normal as possible if this works. All right. So, looks like right there is let me move this out of the way. Right there is the power light and light for charging, etc. So here is the grand reveal. Like I say, I don't have a whole lot of hope here, but let's see what happens. Yeah, that's hard to get in there. Let's see. There we go. There we go. All right. Looks like we have no light. But let's try to turn it on and see what happens. And nothing. So, it's kind of what we... Oh, wait a minute. What? We have a light on this board. Are we going to see something here? Sometimes when the CMOS clears itself over time, you can have a long delay of a boot. So we'll try to see something on this screen. Like CMOS has been reset, something along those lines. Wow. Let's go. Guys, look at this. The battery's charging at 2%. I'll turn this off before it heats up. All right, guys. So, wow. So, I gotta say, the YouTubers I watched before I started doing this sort of work, these guys that I watched, I would see them pull a rabbit out of the hat and just fix something that looked unfixable. And you saw it first, just like I just did. I think I have pulled one out myself. So this is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and do one more little snippet of this video once I put the hard drive in, once I get it completely put back together and show that everything's working, because this is definitely a win. All right, awesome. Be right back. Okay, so I have got it all put back together. Everything seems to be okay. I found out why this light for the battery didn't come on earlier. It will now. There it is, battery charging. There was a little flex connector on the back of the board that wasn't plugged in. So everything seems to be working okay. I hit the power button and it comes right on. I've reinstalled Windows on it. The only problem I have, it's not even a problem, but at some point when these parts were sitting around the shop, I took out the Wi-Fi card and used it somewhere, so I have to find a Wi-Fi card. Other than that, this seems to be working okay. So it just goes to show you that when you learn the principles of this sort of repair, it's my opinion on this one that that tiny little bit of that one particular positive hole, we'll call it, that the solder bridge that was created over the top of that fixed this. So these are selling on eBay for at least $600 now, you know, sometimes much more. But this is a win for us, man. I'm pretty stoked about this. Okay, so if you like to see more videos like this, just subscribe and feel free to like it as well. And we will make another one soon. Have a great day.